Thank you for coming to this interview. Alrighty. So first of all, I have to get your consent on video.
Mm-hmm.
So do I have the consent to video you?
Absolutely. Yes.
And state your name for...
Richard Rowe.
Thank you very much. And what is your occupation?
I'm a customer care manager at a in vitro diagnostics company.
Diagnostics. And what do they do?
Largely, we look after 90% of the allergy market.
Of the what?
Allergy
Allergy.
market for allergy testing.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have a very broad range of assays and things that people at university can do studies.
Mm-hmm.
They come to us for products, and hospitals also. We supply hospitals with a lot of products.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like medical products?
Yeah,
As
across
in-
across the range. Across
Okay.
the range. Testing as well as hardware.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask you a series of questions to help sort of understand a little bit more about how you got here and what it's
Yeah.
like to do your job.
Yeah.
So when and how did you decide to become a customer care manager?
I sort of fell into it, but and it may sound odd, but my brother passed,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I was a sales manager, and I thought I needed a change, and so I applied for the role of a customer care person,
Mm-hmm.
and they offered me the manager role.
So you've previously done customer care. You've been previously
Yes.
in
Yeah.
in sales.
Well, this is the weird thing. I actually believe that ever since, and I was in the Navy, I was an air traffic controller,
Mm-hmm.
and I think what I have the ability to do is communicate with people.
Yep.
So I think that's my through line on my spine
Mm-hmm.
has been,
More the communication side of things.
more being able to communicate complex issues to people.
Yeah. So is that why you find yourself in sort of the managerial roles, because you can be able to communicate yourself up and down?
Yes, and again, yes, and that's a very good question. It's the ability not only to communicate with the coalface,
Yep.
the coalface workers, but also to communicate upwards as well. So it's upwards, sideways. I'm very,
Yep.
very astute in talking to my peers, as well as those that report through to me, as well as management. Yeah.
Yep. What key things in your life do you do that's actually led you to your decision to be in customer care? So you were saying that your brother passed away.
Yes. Well, that was only to change to go out of sales, but sales, customer care. When I was in the Navy, I was an air traffic controller. It's all about talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's that thing of managing expectations.
Yep.
So yeah, it's customer care is about setting expectations and then managing them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what you think makes you a good fit for this profession is your communication and your ability to understand that.
Yeah.
Have you always been good at communication? And
It's funny, I didn't think I was.
yeah.
I didn't, and strangely, I think a lot of times people outside of you tell you what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of feedback.
Yep.
I ask for feedback a lot.
Yep.
And I ask for feedback from those that report through to me, as well as those that manage me.
Yep.
And I ask for feedback from customers. So I'm a big believer in asking for feedback, because that's the only way you can improve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes people find that feedback can be quite scary and they're not sure how to take that. Have you always been able to manage
I've always
other people's feedback for you?
feedback for myself.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, because you're seeking it. You're seeking it from people that you respect, or that you see some qualities in them that you'd like to develop within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you ask for feedback as to how you're going.
Yeah.
Am I overreacting, or am I seeing am I seeing things as they really are?
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, one of the most important things I think is not only to be honest with yourself, right? Because we're not all good at everything, but also to be honest with those that are managing you.
Yep, absolutely.
And to say, I find there's a skill gap here, or whatever.
Is that is that something that you value, or like in a job, like just honesty?
Oh, absolutely.
And growth?
It doesn't work. Like seriously, nothing works unless you're being honest. It just doesn't. There's a thing I used to say. We're on the same team, but we're playing different games.
Yep.
And so it's that thing of making sure that we're playing the same game, that we're talking the same language, that we have the same expectations and goals.
Yep.
Because if one of your team is being selfish, or not being honest, then things get hidden, and it's very hard to deal with that. Yeah, you've got to be upfront and honest.
So if there's some of the values that you enjoy, what are some of the skills and abilities or interests that you have in the role that you've got?
I have an interest in people, because I went off and did a psych degree.
Yep.
I have an interest in people, and I've done some coaching in my life and mentoring, and I really like to see people succeed.
Yep.
Because I have this thing where, and even the role that I'm in now, I've helped people 10 years ago that have come to me now and said, would you like to work with me? And so what comes around goes around. Type thing.
So do you think some of the things that you've done as part of other areas that you've worked, that you've learnt skills to be able to find yourself in this position now?
Absolutely. Yeah. Communication's been a through line, but resilience, because in the customer care environment or in business generally, not everyone is on your side. Not everyone thinks the same way you think, and so it's that thing of understanding that it's a continual learning curve. Yep. That you will learn things. You never know everything, and things, and there's chaos, and life throws things at you. Not just at work, but at home as well, which impact your home work environment. So you've got to be able to share that to a degree, self-disclosure.
Yep.
You've got to be able to share that to a degree and feel safe to do that at work, because again, and I have people that work for me that disappear for days at a time, and I have no idea what's wrong with them.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether it's a mental health issue or a physical health or whatever. I just get a form back that says, that he was off for 3 days.
Yeah.
So unless I have some understanding of why, then I manage it differently, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so if you've got the honesty to say, hey, look, I'm actually having a huge issue at home, or my dog died, or, you know, then you're able to manage it in a more correct manner where you feel like you're being honest, they're being honest.
Absolutely.
But if they don't have the ability to come to you and explain that,
then a lot of that has
you can only manage it.
Yeah, a lot of that has to do with how I communicate with the staff. They need to feel comfortable enough to come and talk to me.
Yep.
And I always, to be honest, I always see it as my failing if people aren't honest, because I haven't created the environment where they can be.
Yep, completely agree.
Mm.
Do you ever doubt your abilities?
All the time.
Yeah.
And that I mean, to get the best out of people, and is also helping them improve. Like, what I do is I go to people and I say, what do you want to do in 5 years, or what do you want to do? What's your long-term goals, and use this as stepping stones.
Mm-hmm.
So within the work environment, you can study, you can manage other people if that's what you want to do. You can practice the skill sets that you want to use in the future, because if you start using it now, right, in a safe environment, then when you go out looking for another job,
mm-hmm.
because people do, then you've got some experience.
Mm-hmm.
You've been able to run a meeting. You've been able to sit down and talk to somebody about their KPIs.
Mm-hmm.
You've been able to provide feedback in a safe environment. I went off topic a little bit.
No, I was just thinking, like, as you were saying then, like, if when it comes to, let's say someone shows up to work, that, you know, you see this as a career, some people just see this as a job, it's just a place you go to earn some cash. Do you find that your values and their values, while you're in the same environment, can sometimes make things harder?
I think you've got to care. Ultimately, any business is just a group of people,
mm-hmm.
right? It doesn't matter. And I've worked for really large companies, but at the end of the day, it's just a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I've learned,
mm-hmm.
is that group of people need to get on,
mm-hmm. because
we spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yep.
You know, we do hear about their lives. We do. So that's the most important. And it's funny because, and this is something I hadn't thought about until this very minute,
mm-hmm.
is that when I was in the Navy, it was really based around teamwork,
mm-hmm.
and nobody gets left behind and
yep.
all that sort of stuff. The team is as fast as the slowest person.
Yep.
Right? And I've just realised now in this conversation that that's what I'm hoping to engender here,
mm-hmm.
is that we are so honest with each other that we do know that I've got a gentleman that works with me who's dyslexic.
Yep.
I've got somebody who gets migraines easy, so
mm-hmm.
they need breaks and things
mm-hmm.
like that. So it's that thing about being really honest and using strengths and weaknesses of the team to accomplish your goals.
Yep.
You know?
Yep,
yeah.
yep. Okay. Just double check we're still recording. Cool. So as far as asking about, like, you know, do you ever doubt your ability to do what
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If so, in what ways did you doubt it? Which I think you've answered, but what helped you become more confident when you doubted yourself?
I think study.
Mm-hmm.
I think asking for feedback, but largely study. And like I mentioned about the degree in psych,
mm-hmm.
is, and I also go and see somebody as well. I get mentoring as well as mentor others, and you lose I don't think you ever really lose the imposter syndrome thing, but at the same time, it's just understanding that you have it.
Yep.
You know, you are going to have doubts, but if you are working with a good group of people, or if you have a good manager, then you can go to them and they can sort of alleviate any doubts that you have.
So it looks like one of your biggest, outside of honesty, is always, like, one of your biggest values is always making sure that you not only are given an opportunity to learn, but are kind of learning on the hop as well.
Yeah. You providing other people, this is the weird thing, in providing other people opportunities to learn, you're learning yourself. And also, it's circular. Everything I find is circular. So if you're helping other people, then hopefully your manager is helping you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yep.
and so that's what I mean, and that's a
yep.
good business, because it comes down to it's just people.
Yep.
You know.
What are some of the difficult aspects of developing this career?
I think it's others' expectations,
mm-hmm.
and in business, there's always the expectation of growth,
mm-hmm.
You know, we don't maintain anything, and we have to grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 10% each year, and so in doing that, you don't employ new people until, like, for instance, if you've got 2 people working on a project, it has to need 4 people before you get 3.
Yep.
You know, just because of the costs involved.
Mm-hmm.
Business is about making profit,
Mm-hmm.
largely.
Yep.
And even though you may be a charity, you still have to be able to afford to pay for the buildings and
Mm-hmm.
all that sort of stuff. You know, in corporations, people need to make profit, and people need to make a wage, but also you have to provide value to the customer. Otherwise, you're not. So yeah.
So it's lots of thinking about it in so many different areas.
Yeah, it's thinking about holistically.
Yeah.
It truly is. You have to think of all your staff, but also all of your customers.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So you're trying to think about how a business can grow, which sometimes means that you're going to have some of your staff doing a little bit more and growing as well. And if you're not able to have both environments perfect at the same time, then
it's a balancing act. But again, if you let people know that that's what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
Normally you'll get buy-in. You'll get buy-in from people who share your values.
Yep.
And that's, again, very important.
What's the rest of my okay. So I think we've said this. What were some of the difficult aspects of developing this career, and how do you manage them? I think you answered that really well. What, if any, aspects about this work are different from what you initially imagined you would be doing?
I think it's a much more of a juggling act.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you don't, you know, in the customer care situation, you're piggy in the middle in some regards, between the customer, the suppliers, the business, and the customers are not just external customers; the internal customers are equally as important.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's that juggling act is one of the things that I wasn't expecting. You know, you sort of think it's going to be external customer focused, but in fact, all the business I've found is managing internal business, customers as well.
What impact did this have on your enjoyment or desire to do this work?
Oh, I love people.
Yeah, so you always keep the focus more on
the person.
Yeah.
If the people are well informed and challenged a little bit, without too much, it can be a fun environment.
Is that where you find the challenge? Because it seems to me like you like a bit of a challenge as well. So do you find that instead of the company having the challenge, but being able to find not the challenge in the people, but the challenge to give the people what they need to be the best person they can be for the business?
The challenge is knowing that, no 2 days are the same. You're continuously solving problems, and I don't see anything wrong with that. So you become very solution focused. So, and I think that's one of the things that, as a manager, I work with on the team is we all know what the problem is.
Yep.
We focus on the solution and
Yep.
focus on the solution and bring ourselves back to the solution. And then what do we do to make sure it doesn't happen again? That's that's the important thing.
Solution focused. How do you manage this difference in what you expected and what you experienced? I think you've answered that as well.
Yeah, it's just being realistic.
Yep.
It's being realistic and dealing with things as they come up.
What is important to you about this work? Well, I think already I've been able to find that it's being able to help other people succeed.
Yeah.
Like it's not the business itself that you're passionate about.
No.
As long as you get the opportunity to do it in most areas, like it's all the same. But honesty and being challenged.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. I think so. I think I mean, the just very quickly,
Go for
it could be.
We have all the time in the world.
It could be widgets.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I always say to people, it's widgets, but it's the people that you're dealing with. At the end of the day, I don't see the scientist, but I know that he needs this stuff. So
Yep.
it's that sort of thing about caring about him
Yep.
and what he's doing.
Yep.
That what we're moving around is almost irrelevant.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So yeah.
But there's an outcome that he needs, and if these people provide that outcome to have.
And we're all interconnected.
Yep.
You know, and that's what I like about the customer care thing is that lots of things go through customer care.
Yep.
You know, we're all interconnected. Everything's connected.
What advice would you give somebody who is considering this career?
It's interesting because in the team we have scientists, we have mums, dads, all that sort of stuff, but we have highly educated people who want to be part of the process. I think it's about being open and not having too many expectations. And I think it's that thing of being flexible, not being narrow-minded, because the solution may come from wherever.
Yeah.
You know, it's very inclusive. If you like inclusivity, if I could say the word, this is a great career. You know, customer care is, and I'm not talking about taking phone calls from abusive people. That's a different subject altogether, which I've done. But a customer care environment really is, you learn logistics, you learn communications, you learn supply chain, you learn so many different things because it's all related.
So you would say being open to opportunities, but also open to learning.
Oh, always be open to learning. Yeah.
It's hard sometimes, like, you know, did you ever see something as an opportunity to make that step, or did you just go, look, hey, I'll give it a go, and then realize that you've accidentally learned a whole new skill set?
I think intrinsically, if you're a good communicator or reasonable communicator, and you like solving puzzles, then it's good. From a management perspective, right? What it is it's about enabling people or empowering people to step up and make decisions that impact the way we do business. It's always empowering people. You've got to empower them, otherwise you're doing all the work yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
which is exhausting because you can't run a whole business on your own.
No.
And I guess at the end of the day, so if that's what advice you would give, what makes it relevant? Why is this advice relevant?
I think
it's a bit of a tricky question.
I think looking at communication and looking at solving problems is is about life. I don't think it's just customer care. You know, I think that if you are good at solving problems at work, then you're probably good at solving problems at home.
Yep.
And if you are a good listener and good communicator at work, I think you're probably that at home as well.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Just making sure I've got everything. And it's used as proof the interview took place. That's it. That's all I've got to do.
Fantastic.
You're a legend.
Thank you.
Thank you.